Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Happy Thursday. I have a distinct honor to have Jennifer Paul in the studio with Carliss. For many of you that don't know her, but I'm sure most of you do know Councilwoman Paul, we're super excited to have you. I know your time is valuable today, so we're going to get through a brief introduction, and then we're going to start our question and answering sessions. But again, welcome.
Thank you.
Excited to have you in the studio with Carliss. All right. So Council Member Paul, Jennifer Paul, is the council member for Seat 2. Council Member Paul is a fourth generation Paul family member in Osceola County. Her roots run deep in St. Cloud. She has more than 16 years of dedicated service working in the Department of Defense manufacturing industry. And she is the first African American to serve on the St. Cloud City Council. So again, I say welcome.
Thank you.
And we look forward to this interview. Again, in the studio with Carliss gives us an opportunity to talk to our local, in this case, our local politicians, our business owners. Gives you an opportunity to see the individuals up close and personal. So again, Jen, I really appreciate you being here. Super excited.
Thank you for that.
All right. So our first question: what inspired you to run for St. Cloud City Council? And what has been the most rewarding part of servicing the community?
So what inspired me is I grew up in Narcoossee, an unincorporated area in Osceola. 2020, they had issues where a developer wanted to build townhomes. And my sister and I, we are heavy involved in the community in Narcoossee. So we both contacted each other and was like, what do we do? And the first thing was, we got to let the residents know what's going on. Got to be a voice. And so from there, we've seen the challenges, and, fast forward to 2023, I prayed about this decision and wanted God to direct my path on what way to go. And it was me being obedient to stepping up and putting my name in the hat November 2023 to run for St. Cloud City Council Seat 2. And so that inspired me just by stepping up, by being a voice in the community. And that's what I aimed at throughout the whole campaign. So.
All right, excellent. So one thing that I really liked about that, you're a woman of faith. And sometimes God gives us visions and sometimes we ignore them.
Yes.
And we never reach our full potential or our destiny. So I definitely applaud you for being obedient to God's word and look at where you are.
Thank you.
St. Cloud is experiencing significant growth, as we all know. What opportunities and challenges do you see the city continues to expand?
So one thing as a council we all try to do is work together. We want to see the jobs here in St. Cloud. We know traffic is a headache for everyone because everyone's trying to leave out of St. Cloud to go to work. So the goal as a council is to bring the jobs here, keep the people here working within city of St. Cloud. And so that way, less people are headed out at one time going to work, people can just stay here. So bringing jobs to the community is our goal. And of course, commercial development we would rather see, because I know a lot of people right now, they share their concerns about residential, development. And unfortunately, sometimes those projects get approved in the county and then they'll come to the city once they want to annex. And so we try to work to get the commercial here and jobs here in St. Cloud. So
that's excellent. And as for our viewers that are watching, I think what you're saying is, you're listening.
Yes.
You want to ensure that you're trying to resolve some of these issues and challenges, but it's a process.
Yes, it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight like we all wish it could. Snap your fingers in 2 times and but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately, with the government. There is a process, and it's just that we as a local government have to follow the state laws when it comes to different things. So, and that's the challenging part that, the residents don't understand,
right?
Because they don't get to see the full picture like we get to see it behind the scenes as well, too. So other than that, we are working very hard as a group together. So.
Excellent. I like that, the teamwork effect. So we'll get it done. So we keep working together. How do you balance preserving St. Cloud's small town charm while supporting economic development and new business opportunities?
So when we have these conversations regarding the economic we also take in consideration of, right now St. Cloud downtown is considered historic. Of course, they have different guidelines that they have to follow as well too. So I know, speaking for myself, if I have a meeting with a developer, I always like to incorporate the concerns from the residents, to ensure that the developer also hear what concerns the residents have as well too. So I know a lot of times people think that we don't do, enough, but we are working, we are asking questions, we are letting them know that, hey, these are the concerns that the residents have. How can you incorporate? And for the most part, since I've been on council, I have the developers have been taking in consideration of what the residents, recommend or see, or they're hearing, they're listening, and we are being vocal about it. So
That's an excellent answer. And I think it's important for our viewers to know that you're a voice for the people.
yes.
And like you stated, a lot of times we as citizens, we're not able to attend those structured meetings when you're talking about development and just the overall growth process. But it's refreshing to know that you and the rest of the council members are the voice for the people, because at the end of the day, your ultimate goal is the economic development for St. Cloud.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Community engagement is important in our local government. How do you encourage the residents to become more involved in city decisions?
The best answer for that is come to your local meetings. Be a part of committees. They have different boards that residents can be a part of. They also have the Citizens Academy class. They do that once per year, but I think it's a great opportunity to just be involved and see how the government works. But be involved. I mean, it could just simply mean going to a community meeting, but just be involved in your community, know what's going on. Everything, you're not going to see everything what people like to see on social media these days,
Right.
but just show up to the meetings. We have our council meetings on the second Thursday of each month at 6:30. So that's a great opportunity. They have public comment for residents that want to come share concerns, have an idea. I mean, you have that opportunity to come and address the council all at one time and share these concerns. So
That's great. I like that invitation to come out to the council meetings. However, what is the seating capacity? Is it hard to get in? You have to reserve in advance, or is this walk-in basis? How does that actually work?
it's open to the public. It also depends on what's on the agenda. I mean, we've had an issue where the house was packed and
Okay,
even had
okay.
overflow downstairs, but it just depends on what's on the agenda. Some meetings you see maybe less than 10 people in the meeting.
Wow.
But majority of those be staff people, but you don't hardly see the residents unless there's an issue that they want to be there to address. But I look at it as come at all times to know what's going on in your community. So
I like that. And I think that goes back to that old adage, knowledge is power.
yes, it is.
The more you know, the more impactful decisions that you can make, because you're getting it from the source.
Yes.
So that's great. So I really appreciate you extending that invitation. I will take you up on the invitation because I have not participated in any of the council meetings, but as a St. Cloud resident and a downtown St. Cloud business owner, I think it's important to me to come out and hear what's going on in the overall community. And it kind of ties in with the podcast, because I want this to be an informative platform. So, all information, as much information as we can share, that will continue to make us a stronger community as a people. That's a great invitation. So don't be surprised if you look up and see me out in the audience. Okay.
I won't be mad because, everything, that you see on social media, everybody has opinions. And a lot of times, just because you have an opinion doesn't make it right. I prefer people get the information from the source, and that's attending your local meetings. So
Excellent. Okay. As a leader, what lessons have you learned that have shaped your approach to public service?
just be true to who you are. Being authentic, showing up authentically, and meaning what you say. I mean, when you campaign for different things and you say you're going to do this, the residents are going to hold you accountable and make sure you do what you say you're going to do. So I like coming in with honesty, transparency. If a resident asks me a question on something, I'm bound to give them the real facts and not what I heard. It's just being true and being honesty. I know right now the stigma for the political world, residents they have a bad stigma out there. And I like to stay away from that because I'm passionate about what I do. I don't even like to be called politician because, I just look at it as politics over people, but I'm very passionate about what I do. So when I show up in the community, I'm showing up as Jennifer A. Paul. So.
All right. Jennifer A. Paul is in this building. And I will say, I don't know how you manage your schedule because you are everywhere.
Yes.
But that's good for the position. What you ran on during your campaign. You were about the people, you were for the people, and you're out amongst the people. So I think it's great that you continue to do that. And when I first met you a year ago, you were at the Memorial Day celebration. And I was like, wow. And during that year, I've seen you at multiple events. I'm the Chamber of Commerce official photographer, so I get an opportunity to go to a lot of different processes and programs, and you're always there, but you're always the same. Approachable, and I've seen people ask you questions, and if you don't know the answer, you're not afraid to say, I don't know. Let me get some additional information, and I'll follow up with you. And I think that speaks volumes of who you are as a person, and I know that it will continue to gain momentum and continue to give you great value in the things that you're doing out in the community.
Yes. And the people love it. They appreciate it. When I'm out in the community, people say, Councilwoman Paul, you be everywhere. And I'm like, yes, we have our calendar. We have our admin who keeps things on our calendar. So I like to show up. And you can tell when sometimes people are not used to seeing an elected official out. They're like, oh, wow, we have a elected official here. Yes, I'm that one that likes to show up and participate and be a part of the community. I don't want to just get elected and just sit behind a desk for council meetings, or I want to be involved. I want to be able to support local organizations who are actually servicing our community as well. So I like to be all in, all hands on. So anytime people want to reach out to me, I'm approachable. You can send me an email. I will respond back. I respond back to every single email that I practically get. And I want people to know that we are listening. We will take your calls. You might see an email late at night, but you're going to get that email back. So I just like to be supportive to the St. Cloud community. So
excellent. Excellent. All right. What advice, and this is a great question for you, since you're always out in the community, and I know you do a lot with our youth. What advice would you give to young people who are interested in leadership, public service, or running for office one day?
And it goes back to being involved in your community, staying involved. And that's how I started, as being a community advocate. It's a lot of things. I didn't take no citizens class. I just was involved. I went to meetings when issues rose to different things going on in the community, but I just stayed involved. And I would encourage any young person that want to become in the political world just to start at home and get involved in your community and attend meetings, know what's going on in the community. So I would encourage anyone to do that. Start at your home community and then work your way up. So,
okay. I think that's great advice. And I like your processes, and you seem to be a process-driven person.
Yes.
Everything has its incremental processes. So that's a part of your overall strategy, just sitting down talking to you. Nothing just is happenstance. You actually have a calculated process.
And I do. And I give credit to one of my employers that was basically process driven on a lot of things. You couldn't even take shortcuts with different things. So if this says something in the charter for City of St. Cloud, we got to go by what's in the charter for City of St. Cloud. So I'm very strict on when it comes to procedure, process driven. So
that's great. And one other comment, as we go through life, we see leaders, all different forms, fashions of leadership. But I think it's great when you get an opportunity to see multiple leaders and you take a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, and then you build your own leadership portfolio. So it's good that you don't forget the leaders that have impacted you, and you see that carrying over in your process today. So I think that's a good takeaway for all of us. leadership doesn't stop. Leadership is, you see it every day, and there's no one great leader. But if you piece different pieces, parts of each leader that you inspire to be like, you look around and you're almost a carbon copy of that leader. All right. So, Jennifer, this has been amazing. I am really enjoying it that you had an opportunity to stop by in the studio with Carliss. I'm loving this. This is our bonus question. Tell us something about Jennifer A. Paul that most residents may not know about you, a hobby, a passion, or an interesting experience that has influenced who you are today.
I first give all credit to God.
Amen.
And then without him, I don't be. And then secondly, to my parents, my mom, Karen Stark Paul, and then my dad, Larry Lee Paul, who's no longer here. But, without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. My grandparents, great grandparents, they all paved the way for me to this opportunity just to lead in the community that I grew up in. And so one fun fact about me is I'm a twin. A lot of people do not know that.
What?
So when my sister is eating somewhere at Shemento's and someone's looking at her, want to say something, but not sure if it's really me. And I always tell her, be nice, so because people really get us confused. And even with the blonde hair, I tried to make that distinct from where we did not look too much alike, but people still get us confused. So I do want to acknowledge my sister, Jessica Paul, who is my right-hand person, and she's my twin. So a lot of people don't know that. So
that's a good fact, because I had an opportunity to photograph you and your family for your mom's birthday. It was an amazing photo session. And when your sister walked in, I was like, well, hold on, time out. Do you have a twin? So it was startling at first, but to know your sister, she is, as you stated, your right hand. She is definitely a person in the community as well as you. She supports her sister wholeheartedly. I love that about the two of you. It's two, but it's really one.
Yes.
A very strong presence. So again, I appreciate your acknowledgement of God, because without him, none of this will be possible for any of us. And we just thank him for what he's doing today, but what he's going to do tomorrow and in the future. So this has been a great podcast interview with Jennifer A. Paul. I like that. But I'm so glad you took the time to stop by. And I would ask, if your schedule presents itself, we would love for you to come back in the studio with Carliss and just talk. As we continue to go through, there's things that you may want to talk about. You have an open invitation to come by, but that's to anyone. Again, purpose of this podcast is to give us an opportunity that we can sit down and talk to our local politicians, business owners, individuals in the community, because this is all about community. And I'm really thankful and fortunate to have this platform, because honestly, I really don't know who is going to stop by the studio with Carliss. People approach me, people email me, they call me. And my biggest thing is, are we going to talk about community? Again, I'm here at 1020 New York Avenue. I have a photography studio. And I thought about this the other day. I don't even really talk about the photography studio, because it's about us. The photography studio is here, and I'm very grateful and thankful. But I use it as a vehicle to get other people out in front of the people. So, Councilwoman Paul, again, I thank you so much. This has been a great podcast interview, and I definitely want our viewers to support Councilwoman Paul. If you have any questions, comments, put it to the test. She's telling you, I respond, and I believe in her. I know she is for the people. So I want to thank everyone again. And who knows, one day you could be in the studio with Carliss. Thank you.